Good afternoon and welcome to the Joy Show. I'm Barbara Schreiner Trudell and I am delighted that you're here today. And Joy is an acronym, just one you, so this show is all about celebrating the unique, the authentic, the powerful self that each one of us are. I am here on the historical territory of many indigenous nations. And as we gather from places all across Turtle Island, we as settlers are grateful for the opportunity to meet here, and we thank all the generations of people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years. And although I'm not a person of African descent, I'm also committed to continually acting in support of and in solidarity with Black communities seeking freedom and reparative justice in light of the history and ongoing legacy of slavery that continues to impact Black communities in Canada and the US. It is my commitment to work in harmony with all people, for I recognize that we are one, and that with that, all of us are, in fact, perfect, whole, and complete. And it is in that oneness that we experience great love and joy. Well, I am so excited. My guest today is Reverend Kathy Mastroianni, and she is the Executive Director of the Science Mind Archives. Now, Kathy's core mission is to reveal peace individually and collectively on this beautiful planet of ours. And she does that using the powerful, peaceful tools of Science Mind. She's an ordained minister with the Centers for Spiritual Living, and she is working to preserve and protect all of the wonderful, wonderful materials. So welcome, Reverend Kathy. So glad you're here.
Oh, Reverend Barbara, what an honor to be here. And I love joy, just one you. And
it's great, eh? Well, we're going to start off today in a very different way because we are going to have the founder, the Reverend Dr. Ernest Holmes himself, pray us in. So please join Kathy and I in consciousness as we allow our divine founder to share these beautiful words.
Let us take as the thought for our meditation today these words of Jesus. With God, all things are possible. And let us see if we cannot make these words real to us as we quietly affirm, I am now established in infinite life. My mind and my heart are open to the infinite good. I have no fear, nor doubt, that can in any way turn aside or reject the blessing which the Father hath for me. My body is alive with the life of God, which life is whole and perfect. My mind is established in God. I am led by the divine Spirit, and I know that my paths are directed from good to ever greater good. The harmony of God brings me into peace with everything. The abundance of God prospers me in all that I do. The beauty of God brings beauty into my life. And I know that the presence of God, which now fills my mind, blesses everyone I meet wherever I go. The quiet power of peace within me touches the heart of everyone I meet, bringing to all an assurance and a renewed faith in God.
Wow. You know, it's always so wonderful hearing his voice after all of these years. It's such a gift. So let's talk a little bit about you now, Kathy. You are looking after these archives and making this material available and protecting it. Tell us a little bit about your passion for this work.
Well, again, I just think it's just the whole thing's kind of ironic still, because I came from a human services background, and my last position, I ran a rural domestic violence shelter and safe pets program in the mountains of Colorado. and I got an interesting little cosmic 2x4. And I had done a prayer just before. I said, I want to deepen into spirit. I want to deepen into spirit. And I had no idea where that path was going to take me. And it went on an interesting little journey. And I was invited to interview to be executive director of the Science of Mind Archives. I'm like, archives? That sounds like old and dusty and boring. But you know what, God? I'm listening. You know, I wanted to become a minister. So I was just starting my ministerial path. And I took, I just kept saying yes. And all of a sudden I got there and I was like a kid in a spiritual candy store. I'm just like, oh my God, I'm in the mecca of our movement here. The audio recordings that no one else has heard. You know, there's stuff on shelves that needs to get out to the world. People need to hear and experience. Dr. Ernest Holmes, our founder. And so that's why God put me there. So I was going to say, no, we can't just leave things, and we have to get it out to the world. And so now we have this incredible crew. I've been there 8 years now. And we have right now, I have to give praise to Reverend Mark Gilbert, because he is a man on fire, because he is, because there's more. I just didn't have the technology. I was a social worker. I didn't have the technology to do it. And so we had 200 Ernest Holmes items on our website. We had another 600 in the wings waiting.
Wow.
And we found these audio recordings, and he is so organized, and he is, anyways, he's retired, but he's so not, he's a volunteer. He's on our board of directors, and he has inventories and lists. And we have this audio team. We have this gentleman, Park Peters, who's digitizing the audio. And then we have this woman, Nana Gresti, who is transcribing it. And so you're going to hear it, and you're going to have the transcriptions and use it for your talks, for your classes, your lessons, your personal spiritual practices. And it's all on the Science Mind Archives website.
Wow.
So it's wild. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's so powerful. Like when we start studying science of mind, we're hearing about the influence of all these various people as to what sort of got Ernest Holmes to where he is or where he was. It's so fascinating to me to be able to read through some of that original material, or especially to hear his talks.
Right.
Oh my gosh. And to have him pray us in today, that was sweet. I'm so glad you got that to us. That is amazing. But it's like, there's something about that history that is so enlivening. It's learning, and just, I don't know, it sort of humanizes the whole teaching in a different way. And we got Rev B in the stream here today.
I love her. I think we paneled at the same time and became ministers together. So we
Okay.
were
Okay.
Florida.
Yeah, she's my associate minister.
Oh, wonderful.
At
That's
CSL
awesome.
on the Lake. Yes.
Wonderful.
She is just a blessing to our community. So,
Oh, cool. Nice.
And she said, yes, you did.
Yes, we did. Class of 2018. Salute. It's just like,
I was the class of 1998.
oh, wow. Well, that's a nice little decade from a couple decades. That's perfect.
I know I've been doing this for a long time, but it's how do you not, like, I think when we get into this teaching, it's so uplifting and so creative and so powerful, and so it sort of fits with the time. It hasn't lost its voice. Oh, and Reverend Sharon Mitchell is here as well.
Nice.
Hi, Sharon.
Reverend Sharon. Hey.
It hasn't lost its strength. Like, the language, maybe we adjust the language a little bit, but the story is still the same, that there's a power within us that is good, and we can use it.
I love that.
Consciously, creatively.
Right. It's timeless. I mean, it's literally timeless wisdom, the wisdom of the mystics, all rolled up. And so that's why when you hear it and you read it, you feel it. I think you feel it at a core level. Yeah. And so I did bring some pictures from the archives. A lot of folks have seen this one of Dr. Holmes on, on his little chair. And actually, I met the person who has this chair. She's in California, and she's going to donate the chair to the archives. It was at the
who
last
has
convention. I know. How cool is that? So again, it's cool. History can be fun. It is joy. It is interesting.
I think it's how you present it, right? Like you're so excited about it that we can't help but be excited.
Well, there you go. And again, it's kind of a God thing. I just don't know why I'm so excited. You know, I shouldn't admit that perhaps, but I am. It's just so interesting. We were on a call earlier today, a Zoom call, a gentleman, and I don't know if I have permission to share yet, but his father was a very renowned Unity and religious science minister, and he wants to gift us his audio recordings.
Oh.
And so we got to meet his son, and he would tell personal stories, and these mean so much, and he doesn't know what to do with them. They're sitting in his garage.
Oh.
And they're crumbling. It's reel to reels and cassettes that are just going to flake. We could lose his father's history. And so we came up with ideas and suggestions of how we can digitize it and get it available to the world, just like we're doing with Ernest Holmes.
Wow, that's remarkable. And it's interesting, when we look at Science of Mind and we look at Unity and UFBL and Divine Science, all of these sort of had their foundation in the very same place.
You're right. Yeah.
The starting place, like there was something in the water back in the late 1800s.
I like that. It's true. Emma Curtis Hopkins.
Emma Curtis Hopkins, yeah.
And it's just fascinating. Actually, Ernest Holmes was born in 1887, but that was, and I get them a little mixed up, but Divine Science and Unity were born in 1887 and 1889. So the year that Ernest was born. Yeah. And then, Ernest was the last student of Emma Curtis Hopkins in 1927, and she passed. And then he wrote the textbook in 26, and in 27, the movement was incorporated, the Institute of Religious Science and School of Philosophy. Wow. So we're coming on the 100th anniversary soon, in just 4 more years, 100 years, we've been an official movement. And it was born on Valentine's Day, February 14th, 1927. So a day of love. Do you believe it? I mean, you get shivers. I got God bums.
I had no idea. Oh, I got to share that with one of my students who also has a birthday February 14th.
Nice.
Yeah, yes. He'll like that. He's going to start practitioner training in the fall.
Wow. Oh,
yeah.
Oh, good. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Again, you just fall in love with this stuff,
But that's what, I think when I first found this teaching, the energy I felt when I walked into that center, it was in Calgary, was love. Like the room felt like love. And it was such a remarkable experience. I knew I'd come home, that this was my place.
Wow.
And being in convention this past week has been so remarkable. Like it was I'd not done one for a while. And so it was just like food for the soul. And I think that's what this teaching is. It's a way of finding our strength and realizing who we really are and how powerful we really are. So that's exciting. Now you have a whole peace mission going on, which I love.
Just a little peaceful. Yes.
Just a little peaceful. So tell me about some of the things you're doing with this peace initiative, because that's really exciting.
Well, and actually, I think I'm grateful that we've been ministerial colleagues and friends for a while, because I've been on this journey of ordination, and I was able. So the theme was, thank you. We'll come up with that in a minute. But it was about peace. It was pieces of history with the word PEACE, pieces of history continuing the legacy. And it was really talking about Ernest Holmes, how he was really about peace. If you do research in the archives, which I have access to, you find all his peace. And I'm on Centers for Spiritual Living Heart of Peace initiative.
Yes.
Where I get to share Ernest Holmes' peace. Like he mentioned peace a number of times in that meditation, which is from his radio show, How God Meets Your Needs.
Wow.
But we're buds. Ernest Holmes and I are buds. And just it was about peace. Is about peace on earth.
Yeah.
His prayer for world peace, and I've been able to share that. I know you're very involved in really helping all communities and all faith, just welcoming all people. And I've been blessed. Congregation Beth Evergreen, we have an interfaith group, and they
Yeah.
invited me and my friend Reverend Millie Forsberg to do the prayer for world peace at their Day
Yeah.
of Atonement, which we call at one mint, but it really is about restitution, restoration for the African American folks in the world. It's like, how can we be loving? How can we a place of forgiveness, and how can we move forward, in a positive way? And so I've
I
been
think
able to bring
that's,
Ernest there.
yeah. I think that's the big message is how do we take it forward?
Yeah.
Um, it's one thing to sit back and talk about peace or diversity or inclusion or all of these things, but it's like let's put the rubber to the road,
Yeah,
and
please.
what are the steps we can take that begin to move that energy. And it's everything we do moment by moment and day by day. Like I do my land acknowledgments, which is a little thing, but hopefully every person who hears it, it causes them to think about the indigenous people or the people of African descent who are in their communities or whatever, to just begin to acknowledge that we're here, but we stole this land.
Details. Yeah.
That'd be the truth. And the fact that we buy and sell it is fascinating because, of course, that would not be part of the indigenous heritage, where or even the African heritage for that matter. It's like you live on the land and you work with the land, but the land is for everyone. So it sort of changes things. But what I love about Science of Mind is that we take responsibility for everything we think, say, and do, knowing that how I think and what I think is going out into the world. And so I want to make sure that what I'm putting out there is loving, is peaceful, is acknowledging and respectful. And of course, it starts with that introspection as well. What do I think about me? How can I live with me? Right. So
About that. Yep.
now
Absolutely.
you've got a couple little peace shows that you do online.
I do like Facebook. I call Facebook my peace ministry. And on with Reverend Millie and I were partners in peace on a Facebook page called Rise Up and the number 4, Rise Up for Peace.
Oh,
And every Monday at 7 a.m., we literally rise up and we do mantra and meditation for peace. Because I think my first love was chanting and bhakti yoga, the yoga of devotion. And it just so has touched my soul. And I just think chanting and kirtan can just literally brainwash. It washes our brain clear and clean with a higher vibration. And then from there, we move into a time of meditation and just and peace. We have a peace sangha where again together we're lifting up the world. We're rising up beyond conditions to that place of pure peace.
wow.
And then
I love
Reverend
that.
Millie and I on Fridays, though before this on 8:35. I kept scooting it 8:30. We just couldn't quite make it. So I'm 8:35. Let's do that one, and we just come together and we let spirit. What does spirit say to us? And it's just a powerful few moments where we share a reading, we share inspiration, then we do a spiritual mind treatment, affirmative prayer to lift folks up. And it's just inspiring and joyful, whatever we can do to bring more peace on earth, individually and collectively. Yeah.
And when we come to recognize that we're all connected and that what I think, say, and do actually impacts the whole, and what you think, say, and do impacts the whole, everything we can do to lift rather than drag down is so important, not just for us, but for everyone.
You bet.
Of
No,
course, CSL has the vision, a world that works for everyone. Um, I like to add to that the highest and best good.
I like that. Yeah, definitely. Well, and I think that's the thing. I think that is peace. I mean, I think if you boil that down, it's all about peace, and just the
Yeah.
more we can be peaceful, which means being really accepting and open and loving and be able to listen to each other, allow each other to be their authentic self,
Yeah.
and to see the God in everyone, just namaste, to really be that place of namaste.
Yeah. Well, I think that's, for me, that's really, really important because a lot of what I do is about, creating things with people. This thing called life, self-reliance in your adventure. Oh,
I
Dr.
know,
Ernest
right?
Holmes.
Yeah,
Wow, that'll be
so
exciting when that's available.
well, they actually are, and so it's updated a bit, and so I don't know if our friend Dea wants to go to the website just very briefly. If you go sciencemindarchives.com. Again, Reverend Mark Gilbert, even since I've sent this to you, he is adding more and more audio Ernest Holmes available on our website.
Nice.
And I don't know, can you share the website and I can show you where to find them? Because what we're doing, again, it's so powerful. And I've had people in the teaching 20 years, or more, they've never heard, practitioners never heard his voice. And so we have a new show that's the last of those slides. It's a lunch and learn. Reverend Dr. Martha Quintana, she's on our board and it's her idea. And it's a lunch and learn with Ernest Holmes. So we play an audio Ernest Holmes for like 15 minutes, and then we go into breakout groups with questions. And people come practically in tears in their eyes. I've never heard his voice. I've never heard him. And it's a fun, powerful. It's it's at lunchtime Mountain Time, 12.
Wow.
And it's on. Again, you have to go to this Zoom link actually, and like our Facebook page and stuff. There's all sorts of. We're constantly bringing it alive. We're bringing it to life. We're making it useful for people's personal spiritual journeys and their ministry. We're giving people tools to use with our founder.
Well, and it's a really great way to, again, sort of lift the collective energy that allows us to do whatever, to acknowledge our own strength and power and what's possible for the world when we let go of our ideas of limitation. I'm always telling my students, turn the news off. All is depressing and repetitive. Now, Deja was asking in the
chat,
in the private chat there, what is the Facebook link?
You know what? And that's where I'm getting the weirdest Facebook link. And I don't know if it's because, let me maybe log out. I'm trying to get it and be focused too. I know what I can do. I just have to become me. There you go. It's like the theme of the show, right? I just need to be me.
Just and then become you.
Become me. And then maybe it'll let me get to this with,
well, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll take a short little commercial break while you look for that material. And you're watching The Joy Show, everybody. And this is my guest, Reverend Kathy Mastroianni. And we're talking about the Science Mind Archives. So don't go away. We will be right back.
Change when you change the way you look at things. The things you look at change when you change the way you look at things. The things you look at change when you change the way you look at things. The things you look at change when you change the way you look at things. The things you look at change.
And we're back. So we've been talking about Science Mind Archives. We've been talking with Reverend Kathy about her peace initiative, and you were looking up your Facebook information.
Yep, Burrs. I put it in that private chat, and trusting
Okay,
that
so
your amazing producer here can help us with that too.
yeah, she's awesome, and she will get that into the information for everybody. So the idea of this peace initiative, what do you think was sort of the push for you to get started on that? Where did your passion come from?
Well, I think usually when we experience not peace, that's when we get kind of involved in peace, and
That cosmic sledgehammer that knocks us into a new reality.
pretty much. So there you
Rise
go.
up for peace.
More
That's
peace.
beautiful. Oh, I'll have to go onto
Yeah.
your page and check that out.
Oh yeah, like it, love it, and check it out. It's good.
Absolutely. Rise up for peace. Wow.
Yeah, and I call it my Twitter post. Childhood is like my mother was in a domestic violence situation, and she ended up committing suicide when I was 6 years old. And then I was raised by my dad until I was 14, and then he died of a heart attack. And then my 19-year-old sister became my legal guardian, and that was interesting to have a 19-year-old raise a
Oh my,
14-year-old. I know, right?
oh my, and here you are,
Uh,
this shining light. Okay. So
Well, there you go. Well, you asked, but also, well, the other thing
I
was
did ask.
it was 9/11 too, because I remember I had my daughter was just so little. She was just this little baby, and when the World Trade Center was just blown to smithereens. Here I'm on the side of a mountain in Bailey, Colorado, and I'm like, feel like I'm cowering. I'm just like, oh my God, it could be anywhere. And I remember that night, I'm like, I can't control what's out there, but I can control inside of me. And that's when I started praying and meditating for and from peace. And so that
Wow.
that
Oh
was
my gosh.
really when peace hit. And yeah.
Oh, that's so fantastic. You have had a journey. Oh my gosh.
Oh, you betcha. And then God just guides you. I was a psychology major, and I started working in a domestic violence shelter. I didn't realize my mom was a victim of domestic violence at that time.
Yeah.
And I mean, God led me. I started domestic violence groups up here. I had no idea until one day we went to visit my mother's brother, my uncle. He was dying, and he shared how my mom was in an abusive relationship. They tried to get her out, and my dad threatened to kill them. And so she was really trapped. And I think that's what she just ended up killing herself. And so this is, well, I was all of a sudden, and then I come back and I worked at Mountain Resource Center. And this woman who I'd helped, who was in a domestic violence, I helped her get out and get her safe. She was at this presentation sharing her testimonial, and she goes, and Kathy helped me. And she didn't know I was there. And I couldn't have done it without her. And she's standing up in front of everyone, tears, crying. I'm like, someone help this woman. So I stepped out of the audience to her and gave her a hug. And it was when all the dots kind of connected, of my childhood, if someone would have been there to save my mother, if there was shelter, maybe I would have had my mom, but I ran this rural domestic violence shelter for 10 years. And literally this one woman had a 6-year-old. She left. And she goes, if I didn't come here, I was thinking of killing myself. Just all these, this path. And it's just like, wow. And so to me, science of mind is helping people have the skill so they can leave, so they can love themselves so freaking much.
Yeah.
They love that. They would never allow that.
Exactly.
I do an empowerment group every week on Thursday evenings. And for the shelter for 4 years now. And oh my gosh, what people say about it is just so powerful. And it's all science of mind principles.
Of course. That's really exciting. Well, I've had 2 marriages where domestic violence was the norm. And getting out is is a challenge. And the work that I've done with some women who have been trying to get out is, I understand them. I think sometimes people get frustrated working with somebody who keeps going back, but I
Right.
understand why they go back. So I don't care how many times they go back. I'm still going to be there for them when they call, right? It's because you
Yeah.
never know when it's the time that they're ready to actually cut that cord completely. But the science of mind, I think what's so remarkable about it is when I left that second very violent marriage, I started attending a CSL center in Calgary. And for me, what happened there was I, for the first time, sat back and went, I created my experience. I wasn't to blame for his behavior or either of their behaviors, but I put myself in the room. And when I was able to take responsibility for my peace, that changed everything because I clearly said, never again. I will
Amen.
never have that happen to me again.
Yeah.
And Science of Mind gave me the strength to think in a new way, to begin to see myself in a new way, to realize I'm not a victim. I'm a powerful, independent being, and I can live. My favorite motto these days is to stand out rather than fit in. And
Nice.
I think that's part of what we need to do. And Ernest Holmes created this teaching so long ago, but oh my gosh, it's saving lives today.
It's saving lives.
Mm.
Absolutely. No, thank you so much for sharing that. Because I just think we have to be courageous, and we do. Like, as we each of us share our stories here, it can just help others to go, I'm not alone. They don't have to be in fear. They don't have to, be embarrassed. They can
Yeah.
say, you know what? There's actually a higher purpose here. I can use my life for a purpose and
Mhm.
and really make a difference in others' lives.
Well, that's it. I just want to say a shout out to Wayne from Calgary is in the room. He's here pretty much every week, I think, and glad that he's here. Calgary is very cold today. I don't know how it is in Colorado, but I was talking to my son this morning, and it was minus 39 with the wind chill.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Wow.
Yeah, so pretty cold. He
Wow.
had to walk to work.
Uphill both ways. Sorry.
Probably felt that way, but no. Well, it's interesting. One of the things that the first book that I read was You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. A
Mm,
friend gave it to me. And that's basic science of mind in a
yeah.
very simple format. Anybody can still buy the book today. Louise Hay was amazing. And what I loved about it gave me a jumping off point to begin to take my life back. And I think that's the case for so many people is that they start off with something like that, and then that brings people into our centers. And this we only have one center here in Toronto, but it's so great that we have it. That we can begin
Oh
to
my
share
God.
these ideas and principles because you can heal your life. Doesn't
You
matter
can.
what's going on. Oh, check this out.
So this is Ernest Holmes' first practitioner class, 1927. But I love at the very top, well, not very top, it says the class. Then it says Ernest Holmes, and he wrote teacher right next to it. I think it's adorable. And then
Oh,
the third one down is his mother, Anna C. Holmes,
Anna
Anna
Holmes.
Columbia Holmes. So his mother was one of the first practitioners of our movement. She was known as Mother Holmes and was just very well loved throughout. And so it's
That's
just
beautiful.
and
Wow.
and this will, I think I can tie it in. So I'm honored. The Parliament of the World's Religions is coming up in Chicago in
In
August.
August, yeah.
And we have a New Thought Archives consortium, but we're all meeting. And we, thanks to Dr. Barbara Field of AG&T,
Yeah.
we submitted a proposal and it got accepted. It's the matriarchs of New Thought, Peace and Justice Ministries. And so it's going to talk about powerful women in our movement. And just
There were
even there,
many.
if you count on that thing, there was mostly women were the
Yes.
first practitioner class from way back when.
Well, it's interesting. It seems like women are, the majority in most of our centers as well, that there are a lot of women that are interested in this and ready to sort of stand in their powerful state and really shine. I love the story that Ayadeli shared in
Mm,
the convention, um, one of our powerful practitioners. And, when just listening to, looking in the mirror in the morning and saying, "Good morning, gorgeous." I thought that is so powerful that when we can really begin to honor who we are physically, mentally, spiritually, then we have an opportunity to go out into the world and make lasting change there as well. That there's nothing held back, when we stand in that, our true genius, because we all have it. That's
absolutely.
and we don't remember that. Sometimes we forget, right? Because the world has told us something different and we believed it.
Yepers. And they say a lot of our work is to unlearn the things that we've learned most of our lives.
Forget everything prior to today and start over.
Well, that's why principle isn't bound by precedent, isn't it? Right?
Exactly.
Don't we love that? Spiritual principle isn't bound by anything that's come before. In
Yeah.
this moment, the only moment we have, we get to choose, and we get to choose to say, "Good morning, gorgeous." And we get to choose to love ourselves unconditionally. We get to choose to shine our light. We get to choose to really discover what are our gifts, who are we authentically, and just to not care what anyone else thinks. I can wear my piece. I can say howdy. I can be me. And then all of a sudden, the law of attraction, because you're in alignment with who you are energetically, you're going to start attracting like beautiful people. Case in point with my beautiful friend here. It's just like all of a sudden you start attracting, and then your life is more joyous, and then you're attracting better, and then you're more joyous because you're being you.
Yeah.
Oh my God, right?
That's the key, right? Find out who you are and do that, because everybody
Right.
else is taken. So
Yes.
just be you. But yeah, it's fascinating to me. I spent so much of my young years wishing I was thinner and taller and prettier and smarter and right? That journey of, and it's so funny because when you look back on your youthful pictures and you think, wow, what a babe. And at the time, all I could do was criticize everything.
Mm.
It's like we're learning now in our wisdom years. I'll call it wisdom years. That you know what, who I am is who I am, and that's the only thing I get to be. So let me be that and
Right.
really allow that light to shine and to be seen and to be heard. And some people are going to like it and some aren't, and that's good too. That's fine. I'm okay with that. So, there's a sort of an evolution that happens. And I try to tell the teenagers that I work with, this is probably the most fabulous time of your life if you let go of your judgment and criticism of yourself, and then your desire to be somebody else. If you give all that up and just work on being
Mm.
you, wow, what a
Wow.
place to live. And my youngest daughter's pretty good with that. She sees herself and she likes who she is, and that's really exciting.
It is exciting. Wow, how beautiful. Thank you for being that teacher and to share that wisdom that I think most of us here wished we had as teenagers, to have someone who could just share that and speak that.
Well,
Wow.
because those teenage years are really hard, and I loved listening to during the convention to Reed when he talked about his
Mm.
journey. And when we see kids who are willing to really stand out, to just be themselves, to acknowledge who they are, and to stand in that, because our world is changing, and a lot of the older generation is having a little bit of trouble dealing with all of this new information, the pronouns, transgender, the LGBTQ, all of this stuff. It's like, I don't understand it, but I don't have to understand it. All I have to do is accept that each individual will find their own way and accept them where they are.
I love that. Yes, I love that. It's so powerful just to be love. I think our job is just to be love, because that, like you said, everyone's on their own unique journey and path, even if they came through us as we're their parent or not. We get to just hold a container in a space of love and acceptance and encouragement for them. But gosh, this teaching, again, for youth, for people to bring their kids to a center for spiritual living, to bring the Center for Spiritual Living on the lake, to bring them to this teaching of love where they are, oh my God, they're just so blessed and honored for their unique selves and encouraged to share their gifts and their light. What a gift. I mean, what a gift.
Yeah.
I know they say people are kind of being more virtual, but to go in person if you can, or virtual, it's life changing. You're building community and connections. And it's so important in this world. We feel so isolated.
Yeah. Well, I think that's been one of the great challenges over the last 3 years with the pandemic, is people have been, distancing themselves from each other. And as a result, that has, that's caused some big challenges for our youth. We don't do in-person service at the moment. We're online, but we've done them periodically here and there. And when we're in person, I've got 4 teenagers who come to my service every time.
Wow, how
And
powerful.
it's really funny. They're friends of my daughter, but like they sit there enraptured by the service. Like it's so luscious. I love it. But last summer, my daughter was in Calgary visiting family, and her friends, who are 16, 17 years old, said, messaged her and said, "We want to have a sleepover at your house."
Mhm.
So she messaged me and said, "My friends want to have a sleepover, and you're not here." Yeah, no, they want to have a sleepover and talk to you about spirituality. It's like,
Wow. Wow.
are you kidding
Wow.
me? So I
No.
had 5 teenagers come over,
Oh
and
my
we
gosh.
sat and we talked about, God, what it is, what it isn't, what this energy is, this whole life thing. And then I taught them how to play cards, or at least tried to teach them how to play a card game. And then I said, "Okay, I got to go to bed." So they went downstairs to my daughter's room and watched videos till who knows when. And I went to bed and had a good night's sleep. But it was like, wow, like
Wow.
if we can reach our youth, that
You
is really powerful. I
really.
love that they're willing to talk to me and hang out
Mhm.
with me and spend time with me, because I had someone when I was 14 years old. I had my grade 10 social studies teacher,
Mhm.
Carolyn Baxter, and she was the person who saw me.
Wow.
And as a teenager who was really unhappy, suicidal, she was the one who gave me the strength to go another day, and
Wow.
ended up becoming a very dear friend. Because when I started going to CSL, oh, there's your kitty.
There's my baby, my Tara. Hello,
What a
baby.
cutie. Oh my goodness.
Hmm?
But she was a member of the center. And so we went from teacher-student relationship to really good friends, and
Oh, wow.
Reverend Sharon was good friends with her as well. And so, it's fascinating to look at how our relationships evolve and change over time as we grow. And but the impact that people have on our lives, that
Yeah,
sometimes they don't even realize how powerfully they have transformed us by simply being accepting.
I love that. You bet.
Mhm.
It's so powerful. Way back when I was at Mountain Resource Center, there was a called Assets for Youth, a little curriculum, and they talked about risk and resiliency factors. So youth can experience trauma like we did. But
Wow.
one
You
of
do.
the resiliency factors was to have another positive adult that wasn't your parent.
Yeah.
And I think that's what a Center for Spiritual Living can do. It can be a safe place for them to be, but to build those, because they get that teenage and they may not want to talk to mom or dad, but to
Mhm.
give them the gift of having a safe adult can really be a resiliency factor in their life.
I think that's the role that I play for a lot of Genevieve's friends. And interestingly, my other children as well, because I have 4 children, the other 3 are grown adults now. But even when they were young, their friends practically lived at our house. And that, again, it was a place where they could just be themselves and they would be accepted and respected. And that's something that we really need today, probably more than ever. The trauma that society is experiencing as a result of the lockdowns,
Mhm.
it's really still playing out. Like mental health challenges are way up, and we have tools that are very powerful in shifting that energy. And I think that's what, like, I'm teaching Troward starting tomorrow, actually, consciousness and the creative process.
Yes.
And I'm just finishing up Roots, so it's like I'm getting my Thomas Troward download here. But, it's these classes that people can take through Science of Mind. And what's great with so many online communities and people teaching online is whatever class you want to take, there's probably somebody teaching it somewhere.
You bet. Yes.
And you
Well,
can join, so you get different teachers and different attitudes and input, and it's really, really exciting.
that is exciting. Again, so that is, I call it the gift of COVID. It's like,
Yeah.
thanks to COVID, we can around the world access Science of Mind, and you can find the teacher that resonates for you and you can learn and absorb. But again, you're getting these skills and to give, again, it's a gift our youth can have, but adults, our inner children, we're always, I don't know, I'm always taking a class. I'm not perfect yet. I keep looking, and I'm just not there
Yeah.
yet. But gosh, but this has helped me so much. And so again, I'm so grateful for you and all that you're doing, for your community in the world.
Well, and you with your peace initiatives, that's so exciting. It inspires me to, like, I serve on a couple of boards as well. And oh, there's your Facebook.
Nice. I love it.
Um,
Nice. Thank
Rise
you.
Up for Peace. I love that. Love it, love it, love it. Meditation is such a powerful thing, which forms part of our teaching, is taking that time in the silence. And I try to periodically take a full 24-hour period in silence. So get rid of all devices, get rid of everything, and keep a journal handy, because sometimes inspiration strikes and I want to make a note. Or even if I'm, in the middle of the 24 hours of silence, and something sort of, I'm working through something, I find journaling can be a really helpful way of dealing with that. So there's so much good in this teaching, that I think with the conference that just happened, what impressed me probably more than anything else
Mm,
was how diverse CSL is. I was so impressed, because I'm also
mhm.
an ordained unity minister.
I love that. And
And
UFPL too.
well, I haven't been ordained through
Oh, okay.
UFPL, but I did serve there for 11 years. Um,
Mm,
so I have this real in-depth understanding of all of these organizations. But what's fascinating to me is how diverse we are as compared to the others. It's remarkable. And one of my great little pleasures this week was listening to the woman from Spain in Spanish, which I
mhm,
do not understand a word of,
mhm,
but her voice, her presence was transformative to me. So I didn't hit the interpretation button till near
no.
the end, because I thought,
Is it
I just
beautiful?
I just
Yeah,
want to
the energy.
feel
Yeah. Wow.
I don't need to know what she's saying. What came through her message. I wish I could remember her name.
Was it Blanca Mija? Was it Blanca who spoke around when Dr. Edwards spoke on the opening day?
I don't even remember what day. She's blonde, short blonde hair, and she was sitting in meditation for a lot of her
Oh,
presentation.
okay. That was a different
Anyway,
one, but
she's
that was
from
beautiful.
Spain.
Yes.
And I can't pronounce the name of her center, but anyway, but no, it's not Blanca. Oh my gosh, it was such a beautiful experience, and what I loved throughout the entire convention was that we had people like the children singing from Kenya, the school in Kenya,
Mhm.
um, having somebody from the Netherlands, and like it really was wonderful to see different ages, different countries represented, different nationalities presented, different languages being respected and honored. Um, Somebody talked about sharing people's names and getting the pronunciations correct. I think that's something we could work on, but can't we all? It's sometimes really hard to pronounce certain names, but I think there's just so many ways in which this organization is a gift in our world. And I think that is just absolutely so essential. So Patricia Clark has in the chat, do we at CSL have affirmations or readings for the very young, 5, 6-year-olds? This is such an important time to strengthen the courage to be me. I wonder whether Holmes ever published or recorded material with the very young in mind. I don't know.
Well, I think that's a great question. In the archives, we have lots of youth curriculum from way back when. And so again, it's kind of dusty in boxes, but I know, so our intention is to digitize all of it and make it available on our website. Dr. Holmes loved children. I mean, he's just, and you see lots of pictures of him with the youth, like at Asilomar and the different camps. And so I know we absolutely do. So there's Ernest and his beautiful wife, Hazel, and Prince the dog. But I know that in Centers for Spiritual Living, they have curriculum from zero, on up. They have used curriculum that does exactly what you're talking about, Patricia. So it's absolutely available.
Yeah, well, I will find some of it, Patricia, and make sure that we have it for your beautiful grandchildren. And for anyone else who's interested, Patricia is a member of my congregation. And oh, look at the Holmes boys.
The Holmes boys. I love this. So Ernest was the youngest of 9 boys, and one of them did pass before he was there. So this is the 8 of them, I believe. So can you pick out Ernest, Reverend Barb?
You know what? I have to put my glasses on.
Oh, there you go. And
I'm thinking 3 from the end on this.
Exactly. Well done. Well done. I know. I'm thinking I shouldn't have asked that. No, you can kind of see him. Doesn't he just look, he's so curious. He's very an inquisitive young man. And then so the 3 over is Ernest, then 4, 5, 6 is Fenwick Holmes. He's a blonde there. And they worked really, they did a lot together, including writing The Voice Celestial, the last book Ernest ever wrote. And actually, we have that picture as well. But again, could you imagine Mother Holmes? You saw Mother and Father Holmes, but they had 8 boys, and they lived in basically like this one-room cabin in Lincoln, Maine, when Ernest was born. Yeah, so I think we're going to get there.
That's fascinating in itself. When you think about our homes these days where, you have 3 people in 3 bathrooms and 3 bedrooms and, like we wouldn't even imagine putting 10 people into a house with 1 bathroom and 2 bedrooms or 3 bedrooms. Like that wouldn't even be a thing anymore. Oh, there's Fenwick and Ernest.
There's Fenwick and Ernest. And the story we're telling ourselves is they're writing The Voice Celestial here.
Oh my gosh. That's such a remarkable work. It's like an epic poem. But it's so lovely. One of the things in the Science of Mind at the front is his poem, Peace Be Unto Thee, Stranger. And it was always one that really touched my heart. And I actually wrote a song
Oh, wow.
with that poem.
Wow.
And it's interesting. I'm not really a singer or anything, but my band put everything together. And my daughter used to go to sleep at night listening to that song because she loved it so much.
Oh, how wonderful. I want to hear it. You need to send it to me. That would be lovely.
I'll see if I can find it. Yeah, the vocals are a little. I'm not a singer, but what was really sweet is when I was, I think it was maybe my 10th anniversary at Verity, or can't remember, or maybe it was around my birthday at Verity. She actually sang it to me
Oh, my
when they were doing
goodness.
a special presentation for me.
Oh,
So
that's so special.
yeah,
Nice.
she learned it and sang it, and I'm like, wow,
Oh,
that was a sweet surprise. Well, we're
oh,
coming up to our last couple of minutes here. Like, wow, time flies.
okay.
So, what would you like to leave everyone with as
Mm.
we get ready to close? Final words, Kathy.
Well, I love that the theme for this month is curiosity as a superpower. And so
Yeah.
I just invite people to be curious and go to the sciencemindarchives.com website and go play. You know, take some time for me off Facebook or wherever. Go to the archives website and explore. We have free wisdom. We have website subscriptions. We have ability to be a friend of the archives. And when you do that, it's just going to support us. We're a separate nonprofit. All those funds go towards dusting off the items, digitizing and getting it available for you. And
Beautiful.
so go play.
Go play. And Deja, before we quit, can you show the mind map?
So if you go to the website, I'll show you how to get to the mind map. Okay, so if you, at the very top under free wisdom, you'll scroll down to mind map. And so click on free wisdom. There you go. And there it should be mind map. There, right about the fourth one down or so. And there's the lunch and learns. Again, it's just a fun place to go play. So this is it.
Yeah. What I love about this is, you know, when you see where we are and where we came from, because you can click each one of these things and it'll show you all of the people that have influenced that time. It's so incredible. I've spent quite a bit of time on this page.
Nice.
Or numerous pages, just looking at how Unity, UFBL, CSL, Divine Science, all of these kind of where they came from and how it's all put together. I find it so interesting. And of course, in teaching classes, it's really helpful to have some of that information. So yeah, one
Nice.
more fun thing for people to look at. Well, we're at the end of our time, and I just want to say, do yourself a favor and stand out rather than fitting in, because you have a genius in you that is truly, truly essential to the unfolding of humanity at this time. Kathy, you are beautiful, wonderful. I love you dearly, and I'm so grateful that you were with me today, and I want to have you on Spirit Cafe. So we're going to talk about that after the fact. Well, everybody, this is it, The Joy Show for another week. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And I look forward to seeing you all again next week. Bye for now.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
I think we're going.
On behalf of everyone at New Thought Media Network, thank you for being a member of our virtual family. Your financial contributions help share the New Thought message with people from around the world. Please visit and contribute at www.ntmedia.org/donate. New Thought Media Network, come be you. And please like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, peace and blessings.